Welcome to the AFLA Time Capsule. My name is Mike Antich. I'm the editor of Automotive Fleet Magazine. And today we're going to be interviewing Jim Rallo, who's the 33rd president of AFLA. Jim served during the period of 2001 to 2002. And at this time, AFLA was really at a crossroads. When we look back on this era, this was a time that AFLA really began its major growth period. During this period and during Jim's tenure as president, AFLA adopted its first website and also migrated from 2 conferences to a single conference, in addition to many other accomplishments that occurred during this time. To help address some of these accomplishments, I'm going to turn the mic now over to Jim, and he'll explain these.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that introduction. What I'd like to do is to take everyone back just a little bit, if we can go back into the 90s. And one of the things that we had noticed at AFLA at that time was that the organization membership had flattened out. And one of the concerns that our sponsors and some of the other members were bringing to our attention was the fact that there were 2 meetings a year. And we started to look at it, and we also looked at it from a financial standpoint of exactly what was the impact on the organization. But leading up to that, we took a step that hadn't been taken at least in over a decade, and we believe somewhat longer. And that was we chose to survey the membership. And in surveying the membership, they actually helped lay out a strategic plan and a direction for the organization. The organization had experienced great growth and was highly thought of and highly valued by those that were members and by other people even outside the organization that had heard of it but had not really taken the time to join. So we found ourselves at somewhat of a crossroads, and we felt that the best place to start was surveying the membership at that point, helping to set a direction for the organization. And from there, we came across with some actions and activities that we had to take. One of the first things we took and looked at was actually setting up a website. If you think about it, in the 90s, websites were a relatively new thing. And in the case of organizations, there was concerns over design, cost, maintenance of it, if you will. And we actually worked through all those things. And I'm happy to say John Passamoto, who is still a very active member today, was instrumental in helping us bring forward that website, which has obviously been expanded and will continue to be expanded. From that, we actually started to go into and discuss the concerns that we had about 2 meetings a year. And part of our concern was financial, and part of it, again, was the time that it took out of people's schedules. And the way we approached this was that we found that our sponsors were actually quite willing to give us the same amount of money for 1 meeting a year as if when we had 2. And the advantage of this was that when we looked at this, it actually allowed us to upgrade the outside speakers that we had and upgrade some of the facilities that we had been using up until now, which we found to be very positive. So we actually sent this out to the membership, giving them the opportunity to vote, voice their concerns, comments, and so forth. And from that, it was overwhelmingly decided to move to just 1 meeting a year. And that was pretty significant in the organization because, again, it took it to a new direction, the next level that we felt was good, important to NAFA. And I'm happy to say today the membership has continued to grow during this period. And actually, at the same time, we find the attendance at the meetings has increased significantly over the years. So these are some of the things that we were wrestling with at that point in time. They were major decisions. We actually revised and did some things and expanding our committees at this point. And at the same time, we've enhanced those committees, and they've continued to be enhanced today as they represent the organization. And I expect to see this organization continue to do good things. I expect to see it continue to grow and flourish over the many years to come.
Okay, thank you, Jim, for your recollections, and thank you for your service to AFLA. Stay tuned for our next edition of the Time Capsule with the next edition of the AFLA Spec Sheet. Thank you and goodbye.